I have been thinking a lot about the best way to help you understand the lesson planning process, and I've been reflecting on the lesson plans that I was able to read in class on Thursday and then what I've seen on the discussion board. And this video is really an extra resource to help you understand what kinds of things I'm looking for in the final project. So I believe the most important thing an effective teacher can do is model. Model, model, model. And as I found myself saying the same kinds of comments over and over again as I sat with students during the lesson planning mini conference, and as I started to look back through the lesson plans online, I thought it was really important to make a couple of points. So I went back through a unit plan that I wrote a couple years ago that I actually was able to teach, and I pulled it back out and I did a little bit of revision to it to make it fit into the model I'm looking for this year's class, and I went ahead and posted that online. So I'm going to take you through some of what I think are the most important parts of this unit plan, because I think this class learns best from oral explanation, and hopefully this will really help you as you begin to think about how am I going to put together this final unit plan. So come on in, Zeke. Okay, so here is a unit plan I wrote, and it's all about economics. And this one is posted online. It's in the Lesson Planning Resources folder. It actually says Econ Sample Unit. In fact, if I click here, you'll see I have now added, if I were to go back to the weekly folders and look at week 5, the Lesson Planning Resources, you would see that Econ Stock Market Sample Unit Plan. So all the pieces that we're going to be talking about are also available online. So let's take a look at that unit plan, what it looks like. Here it is. This unit plan was written for 4th grade, and this was one that I was actually able to do in my son's school. Very fun. And what I've done is gone through and titled first each of the different lessons with the kind of technology that I used. So this one, called Producers in Our Economy, the Great Paper Airplane Company, would actually be my inspiration lesson plan. This one is actually my free choice, the Springtime Stock Market Simulation. This WebQuest would actually become my QR code lesson plan. This student presentation would be like my movie making lesson plan called What's for Dinner Producers. And this one down here would be my app lesson plan called What's for Dinner Consumers. Okay? Now you're going to notice as you go through each of these lessons that I've gone ahead and included all of my GLICs for Social Studies 4th grade. I've also included my technology standards, both my METS-T, how I'm using technology as a teacher, and my METS-S, how the students are using technology. You don't have to have a METS-T and a METS-S. And in fact, there is one lesson here where I just have the NETS-T on the 3rd lesson, and I do not have a student lesson, a student technology standard for that one. And then I also have my instructional objectives. And rather than take you through each of these, I'll wait and show you when I'm on the lesson plan what these actually look like. But I thought it was important to go ahead and show you some good examples of instructional objectives and what I'm looking for. And then over here you have tools and resources. And then this is really the kinds of things that you're going to need to build your lesson plan. Okay, back out for a second, see. All right, so let's take a look at this first lesson plan. You know, as I went through your lesson plans, one thing that I noticed is many of you are writing about the lesson in really general terms. You're talking about the students doing some kind of writing project, or the students making a Facebook, or the students putting together something about fractions, but you haven't actually put together the resources that you need to go into your lesson plan. It would kind of be like saying, all right, I'm going to make spaghetti for dinner, and knowing that you're going to make spaghetti for dinner and having a real general idea of how you make the spaghetti, but never going to get the ingredients for the spaghetti dinner. So that when the person sat down, they were actually making the spaghetti dinner, but they didn't know how much of anything they needed or exactly how it was going to turn out. Okay, so in this example of my very first lesson, I'm showing you, this one is really about inspiration, okay? But here's something I want you to notice. I want you to notice that inspiration is going to play a really small part in this lesson. This lesson is actually going to take the students through an introduction of how I would teach 4th graders about economics, all right? And then I want you to notice the detail that I really put into this lesson. Here's my objective. After viewing video clips from Discovery Streaming about a market economy and this will say actually in the unit plan, creating a inspiration brainstorming clip. Students will role play producers by creating a product line and a commercial for their own paper airplane companies. So inspiration is actually going to play, like I said, a pretty small role in this whole lesson plan. The students instead are going to go through a sequence of activities that is really going to help them get a good sense of what the economy is and tap into their prior knowledge. Okay, so I start off by asking the students some questions, all right? And I say, as students are sharing their responses, use the software Inspiration to create a web of their comments. So this is really a pretty general thing. Imagine you are one of the people in this picture. What are you doing? So I've provided you with the picture. What are some of the places that you've been? What are some of the decisions you use to make choices about where to shop? What are your favorite places to shop? Why? You can see I'm not just asking the students a question like, what is the economy? But I'm showing them a picture, and then with these questions, I'm carefully having them think about, what do you know about shopping? What do you know about stores? What do you know about money? Students actually know quite a bit about the economy, about money, and about choices. And if I can connect this experience to what they already know, then I'm going to have a good lesson. Okay, so now I'm going to bring them down to the body of the lesson plan. I notice a lot of you say, explain what the economy is, or something like that in your lesson plan. And that's not going to work. You need to be specific. Again, you need to give me the ingredients. Here, I say students are shown a video clip called The Market Economy. Why would I do that? Well, I need to actually pick out my clip, and then I need to preview my clip so I can know exactly what questions that I'm going to ask. So I go through, I describe what the clip is about, and I also include some actual questions based on what was happening in the clip that I would ask to, again, tap into that prior knowledge and connect students' previous experiences with what this clip is showing them about the economy. Okay? Lots of really specific questions. Then I take them down here, and I'm going to get actually into some vocabulary. And I have actually gone through and written the answers to, or the definitions for the vocabulary in a way that students are really going to understand and make sense. And then I've got, again, another graphic, a graphic that I'm going to share with them in a PowerPoint presentation. And then I'm going to connect it again to them, ask the students to write down examples from their own families. What are some of the skills that your parents have? Again, students know this. They know their parents, they know they have jobs, they know what they do, they kind of know some of the skills they have. So being really specific, I'm going to lead them into my first feedback loop. From your chart, share some of the skills of your parents. Group leader. My mom can sew and bake cakes. My dad fixes plumbing and is a teacher. Teacher. Does your parents use these skills in their jobs? Group leader. My mom stays at home, but my dad works for Roto-Rooter Plumbing. So then I'm going to ask this really specific question that's now going to connect. Okay, here's your previous your experiences, and here's how it's connected to producers. Which parents, in using their skill, are using a skill as a producer in the marketplace? Okay, so the child comes back, well, I'm not sure what you mean. And then I say this, which parent gets a paycheck for their skills? Aha. So now I've really specifically had them connect paychecks to being a producer, that we get paid for the skills that we have. And then I'm going to take them down and I'm going to give them a real experience. And I like to think about this as like a hands-on experience. So I'm going to give them actually a packet of materials and some plans to make paper airplanes and let them practice producing paper airplanes. So I'm going to take them through that experience, and then I'm going to ask them, what's the name of your company? Who's the owner of your company? What are some of the businesses in your company? And that is a really, really specific lesson plan. I'm going to end with actually some consumer trends. I've got these are from a couple years ago, but those rubber bands that were really popular, these necklaces, even these little erasers or squishies that kids really liked. And these were things that would have been really interesting to a fourth grader, and they would immediately begin to tap into, okay, I understand what this means, and this is actually part of what the economy is all about. The choices I make are even connected to what drives the economy. Okay? And then that's going to lead them into my next lesson.